Good morning. It feels like church. My goodness. Hello out there in YouTube land. I'm sorry you can't see what I'm seeing, but this place is chockers. It is just so great to see everybody here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. My name is Joan Montagnes, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving you, this congregation. So great to be together with everybody, wherever you are, whatever time you are gathering with us, because we have a lot of people who visit with us after the fact at their own leisure through YouTube, and you can always come back and see it again. So welcome, 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 everybody. I have a bevy of announcements today because we are the church of what's happening now. First of all, before we do anything, we always acknowledge that the land upon which we meet rests upon the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee people, original nations of this land who continue to call for justice and self-determination. In this church, we encourage you explicitly to get all those vaccinations and boosters against COVID-19. We don't like that stuff. And we are happy to say that in our church, masks are absolutely optional. We want you to feel safe and comfortable and to take care of yourself and each other. Now, most weeks on Tuesday mornings, we hold a coffee clutch in the parish hall at 10 o'clock a.m. But this Tuesday, it's canceled. Why? Because we're a polling place. And we know that even the voting is even more important than coffee. So we are canceling the coffee clutch for the midterms, which seems only fair. I'm trying to figure out where to go from here. Where do I go from here? Let us say it is hard to believe, but the Christmas wreaths and poinsettia order is due Friday, November 11th. That is this Friday. If you haven't ordered your poinsettias and your Christmas wreaths, you need to talk to Andrea Burke-Harris, who is somewhere there. That nobody can see you like that. There we go. There's Andrea. Go and speak to her. And while you're standing up, come on, stand again. We're going to talk about the endowment experience we're going to have after church today. If you're interested in giving money to this church, not just while you're alive through the pledge drive, but even after you're dead, this is the time. Go and have cookies and talk about it. This is about leaving a legacy gift in your will as a bequest, a letter of intent, just to talk about what it would mean to have a lasting legacy here at the church, to support not just yourself here today, not just your friends, not just their children, but their children's children and beyond. Somebody built this church, and it wasn't anybody sitting here. Think about it, endowment after church in the Marge Gardner room, and what? Alliance room. In the Alliance room, if you don't know how to get there, speak to anyone, and they'll probably be able to get you there. Oh my goodness, where do I go from here? Also on Friday, November 11, we'll be holding a Veterans Day service here at 11 a.m. in the sanctuary. It'll be a service with music, meditation, and reflection to honor our veterans, to remember the cost of war, and to recommit ourselves to peace in our lives and in our world. The next day, on Saturday, November 12th, between 1 and 3:30, our Universal Access Ministry team, in partnership with the Center for Advocacy, are holding a workshop to discuss the intersection between GLBTQ+ concerns and the concerns of the disabled, because there is an overlap there, which is not just fascinating, but really important to know about. If you want to know more about that, who should we, anybody want to wiggle? There, Steve in the green there. He's the guy to talk to about that. They've been working months and months on this thing. It is going to be fascinating, and it's exciting that we're hosting it. Where are we next? November 20th. Yes, we're pushing out. That is when we're going to hold our Thanksgiving service here. It's a Sunday. But in the evening, it's also the Trans Day of Remembrance and Resilience, Transgender Day of Remembrance and Resilience. We're going to hold a service at 7 o'clock in the evening on November 20th, a service of music, candles, and meditation to remember the transgendered people who were murdered this year for boldly and beautifully being their authentic selves. It will also be a service to celebrate resilience and hope for a more loving future for all. I think I've got one more, and then, oh no, but wait. I'll do mine, and then we get one from Jesse, and everybody likes those. Stewardship. Y'all want to know about the stewardship campaign, right? Okay, if you have not been visited, please let us know. We want to get to know you. We love you. You are welcome, and we want to know you and unveil those bonds that bind each to all. If you have not been visited and you don't want to be visited, but you do want to give, I encourage you to do so. Just give me a ring and I will help you with that. But on top of all of that, I have good news. Good news. Where's my good news? There it is. We are $309,000 towards our goal of $425. Whoop, 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 whoop. So the sooner we get that last little bit in, the sooner I'll stop talking about this. So let's get those last little dribbles in and we can finish this puppy off. Now, Jesse, please say something important to me.
Good morning. Next Sunday is our Fall 2022 Musical Sunday entitled Singing as Spiritual Practice. The service will feature readings, a story, a sermon, and, of course, musical performances that help illustrate some of the spiritual benefits of vocal study. The music will be performed by our choir and music staff with the help of 7 guest vocalists and 2 guest instrumentalists. You'll also get to hear not only our piano, but our harpsichord and our organ. And in addition to the work of Robert Schumann, whose music you are also hearing on the service today, and the Baroque composer Telemann, the choir will be premiering a new version of a piece by myself. So please come out to share in this special experience with us.
All right, that is enough announcing, but you can see, right? We are the church of what's happening now. It is all happening all at once. And I invite you now to continue to unveil those bonds that bind each to all. Get to know each other by greeting your neighbor. Take a minute, say hello to someone you might not even know. Holy mackerel, that was a lot of announcements. That was a lot of announcements. It was.
This morning's call to worship, is that okay? This morning's call to worship is called Hoping, Trusting for So Many Things by Katie Kandarian Morris. Here we have come into this sacred space, quieter now with our readiness, hushed voices, hoping, trusting for so many things, for connection, for communion, for inspiration, for information, for healing, for wholeness, for words, for music, for celebration and consolation. Here we have come into this space, bringing all of who we are. Let us be willing, however we are changed. Come, let us worship. Please join in our chalice lighting found in your order of service. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world. Please join in our hymn found in your gray hymnal, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Once all together, and then we're going to sing it as a round in two parts. So we're going to have this part of the room follow Helen, and then this part of the room follow Taryn and Lee. Okay, so once all together, we start. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Once upon a time, high on a mountain, was a castle ruled by King Yonderfeld, and King Yonderfeld ruled it splendidly. Every morning he would go to the gate and call to all who passed by, "Come in, come in." And everyone was welcomed, and no one was ever turned away. As you can imagine, the castle was very crowded and happy. Dancers came, and singers, and eaters and kissers. So there was dancing and singing and eating and kissing, and everyone had the most magnificent times. Except one day, an ogre came to the door. He came with a document saying he was the landlord of that mountain and he was doubling the rent. "Oh dear," said King Yonderfeld, "I can't pay that. I let all my people stay for free. I can only pay you half of what you ask." "Well, then I will take away half the mountain," said the ogre. "Outrageous," said King Yonderfeld. "Tough petunias," said the ogre as he sunk a giant hook attached to a tractor into the mountainside and took away half the mountain, leaving the castle teetering on the edge of a cliff. Now, losing half a mountain is embarrassing, especially for a king. So the people were polite, and they pretended not to notice, but soon flat things began sliding, and round things began rolling, and teacups and tapestries and small high-strung pets began crashing and bashing and sailing out the window to the cliff base below. "Woe is us," said the people. "This is what comes from having a nincompoop for a king." And one by one, the people packed their bags and they left, some complaining loudly that a leaning castle, even a free one, would not do. Alas, poor Yonderfeld. He tried his best, but the travelers went around him and children made fun of him, and the people wrote up a petition declaring the king a cabbage-headed nincompoop and his castle a hazard to the community. Alas, alas, poor Yonderfeld. Everybody had forgotten his kindness, and he was left completely alone. To pass the time, he began to knit guest towels. And his long guest towels became longer over long nights and many, many long, long years of loneliness. Well, one day, down in the valley where the people had forgotten about the king, the sky changed. It began to rain. At first, it seemed like ordinary rain, but it wasn't. It rained and rained. It rained so much it came up over the windowsill and into the houses, and it floated through the rooms, lifting up tables until nobody could touch bottom. When it got to the point where the water came up to people's ears and noses, they remembered there was a king high on a mountaintop on the edge of a cliff, and best of all, he never ever turned anyone away. They paddled to the king's castle, and when he saw them coming, King Yonderfeld leapt with joy. Every person arrived, and he said, come in, and not one was turned away. Each got a long hand-knit guest towel to dry themselves with and warm themselves by the fire. Before long, there was singing and dancing and eating and kissing, and everyone was having a most magnificent time. But with every person who came into the castle began to sway. It teetered, it tottered, it tippy-tip-tipped. Gasped the people, and they held their breath as it began to shift. And in the quiet, they heard a voice. Help me, please, let me in. It was the ogre. I don't know why it's doing that. No, cried the people. If you let one more person in, we will fall into the deep. Alack, alas, woe is us. Close the gates and close them now. For the first time in his life, King Yonderfell did not know what a good king would do. And finally, he did what he'd always done. He said, come in, and reached out to the ogre and brought him into the castle. No, cried the people as the castle slipped into the stormy deep. This is what comes from having a cabbage-headed, addle-brained, foozle-noodled nincompoopy as a king. Now, you'd think just about now would be the end of the story, and the end of the king, and the end of the people, but it wasn't. The people put out the great long hand-knit guest towels from the parapets and balconies. They billowed like sails, and the castle rose upon the waves, and that sailed gracefully to another mountaintop where it was perfect for happily ever afters. As soon as the sun came out, that's exactly what happened. And many years later, the king died. The good king died. But Yonderfeld's people continued to have most magnificent times because they took turns going to the gate and calling out, come in, to all who passed by, and no one was ever turned away.
Every week, we take a good portion of our Sunday morning offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside the church walls. This month, we are supporting the good work of Big, Big Table. And today, we have our very own Hi Carol to tell us all about it.
Thank you, Charlene. It's a pleasure to be here today. Please think back to 2014. So 8 years ago, Mandy Bailey came up with this idea. She wanted to create a restaurant that served everybody. What does it look like to create a space where everyone can come in and get a meal? Everyone feels welcome. It's not a place where people get a handout. It's not we're doing a feeding or going down somewhere to feed those people. It's a place where everyone is just welcome and everyone contributes in some way. Mandy pulled together a team, and just over a year ago, the doors opened at 272 Hudson. It's a bright yellow, welcoming restaurant called Big, Big Table with some big, big tables inside and seating outside as well. I meant to go for a while, right? A lot of us, we hear about this, a restaurant where everyone contributes, everyone does something. I want to support that, but what does that look like? So I wanted to go. But it wasn't until a friend invited me back in March, my friend Matthew, and I came. And then since then, it was a breath of fresh air just to walk in. Everyone's welcome there. How do you want to contribute today? Do you want to give a financial donation? Did you bring produce or a box of tissues to contribute with? Or do you want to, wash some pots, wipe down some tables? A few weeks ago, a young woman walked in and said, "Can I clean the bathroom?" I mean, yeah, sure, of course. However you want to contribute to your meal, and it's messy, right? Like, how do you have a place where some folks are coming in with lots of bags who just slept outside last night, and they want to contribute, and they want to have a meal, and they want to bring their friends, and then you have the UB professors that are coming over and having a meeting on the other side. And it's messy, but it's beautiful, and it's so welcoming. And I had folks, actually, the gentleman who was there with the woman who cleaned the bathroom said, "I love coming here because it's so full of hope." So I'll be there this Tuesday and Wednesday, the 8th and 9th, and I'll be there on next Monday, the 14th as well. Please come join me for lunch. If folks want additional dates added, please feel free to reach out and ask for those. But please support this amazing nonprofit restaurant. One of the volunteers, Kit, is over there, if you want to ask Kit about the experience there. And thanks for making Big Big Table the Share the Plate partner this month. We have a shopping list that you can drop off supplies either at the church or at the restaurant throughout the month. It's open from 11 to 2:30, Monday through Friday at the moment. Thank you all.
Thank you, Hi. To support our Share the Plate ministry, you can use PayPal by going to our website, www.buffalouu.org, and clicking on the blue Donate button. Or you can send a check by mail to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, 695 Elmwood Ave, Buffalo, New York, 14222. You can also arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If yours is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write SHARE on the memo line, and it will be shared between Big Big Table and the church operating budget. If yours is a welcome gift to our congregation, please write Pledge 2022 on the memo line. Either way, please write UUCB on the important line. Thank you for transforming your generosity into real community change.
God is in the east, God is in the west. Northern and southern lands rest in the peace of his hands. He, the only one who is just, wants justice for everyone. Of his 100 names, let this one be highly praised. Amen. Errors try to confuse me, but you know how to disentangle me. If I act, if I compose poems, give direction to my path.
A reading entitled For a New Home by John O. Donahue. May this house shelter your life. When you come home here, may all the weight of the world fall from your shoulders. May your heart be tranquil here, blessed by peace the world cannot give. May this home be a lucky place, where the graces your life desires always find the pathway to your door. May nothing destructive ever cross your threshold. May this be a safe place, full of understanding and acceptance, where you can be as you are without the need of any mask or pretense or image. May this home be a place of discovery, where the possibilities that sleep in the clay of your soul can emerge to deepen and refine your vision for all that is yet to come to birth. May it be a house of courage, where healing and growth are loved, where dignity and forgiveness prevail, a home where patience of spirit is prized, and the sight of the destination is never lost, though the journey be difficult and slow. May there be great delight around this hearth. May it be a house of welcome for the broken and diminished. May you have the eyes to see that no visitor arrives without a gift, and no guest leaves without a blessing.
Let's join our hearts and minds in a quiet moment of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Spirit of life and love, open us to the wonder, beauty, and dignity found in each face. Open us to the meaning held in each relationship. Come, fill us with generosity as we are challenged to let go of assumptions and old habits. Come, Spirit of compassion, heal the divisions. Heal the divisions that keep us from seeing the face of love in all our neighbors. Come, Spirit of justice, remind us of our moral responsibility to each and all. Remind us that we are bound in a glorious mutual network of concern. Come, Spirit of transformation. Bring us the understanding, inspiration, wisdom, and the courage that we're going to need to embrace change and to stay on the journey. And now let us open our sanctuary of memory, caring, accountability, and hope to the names of all our loved ones, suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy, each name a breath and each breath a prayer. The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life is within us. The community of love is among us. So be it, blessed be. And let the church say, Amen.
This voice
So I want to offer a shout out to our worship associate team, a bunch of volunteers who come up and help out with the service so you don't have to listen to me drone on all my voice all the time. And the musicians, of course, help with that. The worship associates got a call at 7 a.m. this morning to say that Sean couldn't be with us, and there was more than one of them that piped up to say, yes, I can do this, and stepped into the breach. So I am very grateful to have Charlene Montgomery with us on the chancel today, not Sean Doyle, even though it will be great to have Sean Doyle back too. So thank you, worship associates. This month, our congregation is exploring a question, as we do every month. And this month, we are asking ourselves, what does it mean to be people of change? So I want to give you a couple stories. I want to tell you a couple stories. Well, I already told you one story, but I want to tell you a couple stories about changing the world from what it is today to what the world could be or could become if we truly valued belonging, dignity, and justice. Now, the first story is about a staff meeting we had just the other day here at the church. We started out our staff meeting, as is our wont, as we gather to fulfill the mission of our church every week. We started out, as is our wont. I set the tone of the meeting with a check-in question, in keeping with the theme of this month, change. I began the meeting with the question, if you were the ruler of the universe, if you were the ruler of the universe and could change anything, what would you change? Now, they are a thoughtful bunch, our staff, and they came up with some provocative answers. Sarah Kirkland, our gatekeeper, said that she would change global warming. Donna Sense, our financial advisor, said that she would change the Electoral College. Kaylin Ruiz, our office manager, said she wished everyone would just treat each other with a bit more kindness. Now, even though I had asked the question and you'd think I would be prepared for such things, when it came to my turn, I drew a blank. And all I could think about, so help me, all I could think about was ice cream. As far as I could tell, this was the problem. There was nothing I wanted to change about ice cream. When I confessed my conundrum to my coworkers, they are amused by my inability to see the obvious. This is what comes from having a cabbage-headed nincompoop for a boss, they laughed. If you could change anything about ice cream, it would be the calories. At that moment, the heavens opened, and a revelation was bestowed unto us. If ice cream had fewer calories, we would all get to eat more ice cream. If everyone got to eat more ice cream, well, then everyone would be happier. If everyone was happier, then they would be kinder and to each other and to the planet. And if everybody was kinder to each other and the planet, well, then we wouldn't have the problems we have today with the Electoral College and global warming. QED, it all comes down to ice cream. Yes. It is fun. It is fun to dream and whine and complain about all the things that we would do if we were the rulers of the universe and could change anything. And we do a lot of that, right? We do a lot of that sort of, you ever do that? You're sitting around with your friends, and by the time you finish talking, you said, well, now we've solved all the problems of the world, and go your separate ways. Feeling self-satisfied, comfortable with everything that's going to happen tomorrow. But in our congregation, we also take the concept of change a little more seriously. We say that it is our mission. It is our reason for being. Our reason for being is to gather together in loving community so that we can inspire one another for what? To transform ourselves so that we can create a more just and compassionate world. That is a tall order, and that is our mission. That is our sacred task as a faith community. We are all about transformation. We are all about change. So here's the second story I want to lay on you this morning. And it's also about a check-in question that I asked. Once upon a time, in a congregation far, far away, I was meeting with a newcomers class. And to start us off, in order to break the ice, I asked a kind of get-to-know-you sort of question. And I said, what is the most precious thing you left at home today to be here with us? And someone said it was their family. And someone else said her dog. And someone else said it was his photo albums that held all his memories. And then this one guy took a deep breath and said the most precious thing that he had left at home was the part of himself which he left there every day because he did not feel safe to come out into the world as a whole and authentic person. So we are not rulers of the universe. There are a lot of external influences that get in the way of us transforming the world into a more just and compassionate place, a place where everyone feels welcome, safe, and heard. We're not rulers of the universe. But if we are gathered here together, and we gather here on a regular basis, not just on Sundays, but in all different sorts of ways, if we are gathered here together to inspire one another to transform our world, then it behooves us to change what we can change. We come here hoping, trusting so many things for connection and communion, for inspiration and information, for celebration and consolation. We come here hoping, trusting in the power of our gathering for so much. We come hoping and trusting that our lives will be changed for the better. Right? We come here hoping something will change. Otherwise, why are you here? Our mission, our reason for being here is not to change the universe. It is to change what we can change who we are as individuals and who we are as a community, and in so doing, we can slowly make change in the world and make the world a better place. So I told you a couple or three stories about changing the world from what it is today to what it could become if we truly valued belonging, dignity, and justice in everyday life. I tell you, we have a mission for transformation, and the world is calling us to fulfill our aspirations. I mean, just imagine a world of belonging. A world in which you feel welcome exactly as you are, your whole self. Imagine wandering into a community cafe with a big, big table, and someone calls out to you, beckoning, come in, welcome, you are welcome, come, whoever you are. Imagine a world of dignity, in which your inherent nature Your inherent nature is respected and honored wherever you go. A world in which you feel deeply heard and valued by everyone you encounter. Imagine a world of justice, a world in which accountability is not a punishment, but rather turned into a process, a spiritual process of sacred growth. Imagine a just world in which harm is healed and repaired and made whole. These three values, belonging, justice, and dignity, are they values you can live more authentically in your life? Can you hold them just a little closer? Make it a spiritual practice to prioritize them in your decision making? Is that a continuing transformation you can make? Could these three values, belonging, dignity, and justice, be values we live more authentically in our church life? So nobody would need to leave a little bit of themselves at home when they come into our sacred space. Is that a continuing transformation we could make for the better? Are these values, belonging, dignity, and justice, are they values we can bring to the polls? Big election coming up. Are they values we can bring to the polls so belonging, dignity, and justice could thrive in the public sphere? Is prioritizing these values a continuing transformation we can demand as active participants in this democracy? I mean, imagine such a world. Imagine the most marvelous times that would be had by all. There would be eating and singing and dancing and kissing. And in that part of the world that we can change, no one would ever be turned away. My best beloveds, let us continually strive to grow and be transformed. May we be open to change in our lives, in our community, and in our world. May you have eyes to see that no visitor arrives without a gift, and no guest should leave without a blessing. Even the ogres. Because the ogres, and sometimes especially the ogres, move our story toward a happier ending with peace, justice, faith, and peace. Let's sing. Let's sing. Hymn number 407. We're going to sing, we're going to sit at the welcome table and we're going to sing about it.
We're
please remain standing and join in our extinguishing the chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
As we enter into this tender election week, may the victories energize the work ahead, and may you make space for disappointments. And then may the spirit of inspiration stoke the fires of commitment, propelling us forward to the shared work of justice. May our voices, may all voices be heard with respect and with dignity. May our hearts shout, come in from all of the balconies, parapets, and rooftops. And may we continue to find ways to love and to serve. Remember, you are blessed. Remember, you are a blessing. And above all else, remember, you're not alone. You are never alone. So be it. Blessed be, and let the church say, Amen.